Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the
Takes the lead on the final lap.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PSGL here for round number 2 of the F4 Championship on the PlayStation TS. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action, and joined alongside me in the commentary box again. We are back-to-back seasons. In fact, back-to-back seasons is one and only Danny Quinn. Quinn, how are you doing, fella?
I'm feeling really good, of course. It would have been the first race of the season for us commentating last week, but both of us weren't present, so we'd treat this like the first race of the season, at least for us.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, there was no F4 stream last week. Unfortunately, Quinn was unfortunately feeling very under the weather, and I, of course, had some personal matters to attend to, so I wasn't around either. But last week it was Australia, and honestly, I mean, we didn't get to see it, obviously, because we weren't here for it, but we can have a look at the results from Australia, and it was Robbie, the reserve driver, who took the race win. And then, of course, we had even oh no, this is going to test my pronunciation skills. I don't know, but even finished P2 with Pro Vatox completing the podium. As we had Kilcree in P4 with Aguado in P5. And we had George Ansel in P6 with Frank in P7. P8 went to Pokerel. Lucas came home in P9. And then, of course, we had Chris rounding out the final points paying position inside the top 10. The fastest lap did go to Jakku, who ended up finishing down in 15th. Of course, DNFing as well. But honestly, like, that is what we missed last week. Unfortunately, we just wasn't available to cover the action. But we are here tonight for round number 2, and of course, round number 2, we take in the fantastic circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps. We are here for the Belgium Grand Prix, and let's have a look at the track in question. 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles, 19 corners, and 2 DRS zones. One down in towards turn number 1, and one down the Camel Straight in towards Les Combes. Of course, the elevation change is going to be very difficult for these drivers out there on track, and also very iconic corners, providing some fantastic overtaking opportunities as well. Of course, down the Camel Straight being one, turn 1 La Source, another key overtaking opportunity. Turn 8 into Brussels, definitely going to be another key one. And of course, you can get a good run out of Pouhon to have a little look in towards the Campos section. And of course, let's not forget the iconic bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. And win. Incredible circuit, Belgium. I mean, what are you expecting here tonight?
I'm expecting, well, just a massive DRS train, I reckon. I think it's just going to be very, very close between everyone. As it's a track that, well, most people, I'd say, most people like, some people don't like it, but I'd expect at least qualifying to be very close and the racing to be even closer.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, let's have a little bit of a look at the standards. Of course, we have only had the one round so far this season, so they are as followed. It is Robbie who leads the way in the drivers with Even in P2. Then we got Provadox in P3. Kilcree in P4 with obviously Aguado in P5. George Ansel P6, Frank in P7, Pokerel P8, Lucas in P9, and of course Chris collecting that final points paying position in the drivers' standings. Of course, the point system, as always, it is 16 points for the race win, 12 points for second place, 10 points for third, 8 points for fourth, 6 points for 5th, and then got 6 points. 6th place is 5 points. 7th is 4 points. 8th 3 points. 2 points for 9th, and of course 1 singular point for the final points being position inside the top 10. And of course the standings in the drivers are as the results from Australia, but let's have a look at the constructors as well, as it looks like the Scuderia Ferraris lead the way with 17 points there, and yeah, definitely an interesting one. Of course, we'll see, they have a 7-point lead at the top. Haas currently in 2nd place on 10 points, and of course we've got the AlphaTauris in 3rd on 8 points. Aston Martin in 4th on 6 points, and then of course we have the Saubers in 5th on 4 points. 3 points for the Red Bull Racing Team in 6th place, and of course Alpine's in 7th, also on 3 points. But of course, coming in just behind the Red Bulls, due to both drivers in the Red Bulls scoring points last time out. Now, Quinn, without further ado, shall we get ourselves to the action out on tracks? We are in qualifying right now. We got drivers who are just about doing the first flying lap, so I think there's no better time but to get on board and see what these guys are going to do.
Yeah, I think we shall. Just on board with Lawrence, as he is the first person to be going around the track and will be the first person to set a flying lap. I was on board with him from when he started his lap, and he looked fairly clean through the first 2 sectors. Now coming up to the bus stop chicane, you want to ideally go down to 3rd and just roll it through, and then short shift if you can up to 4. Oh no, decides not to. Well, 41.0 already from Laurent is a pretty solid lap time already.
Absolutely. I was on board with Lucas for his first sector. Of course, doing a 29.8 in the first sector. Very competitive first sector lap time that is so far, but can he carry it all the way through the middle sector now as we come through the compost section and now in towards Stavilo, as we've got one of the cars up ahead getting out of the way. A 12.9 in the middle sector as Casper there in the Sauber goes on to provisional pole with a 40.8. Very good lap time immediately off the bat as we stay on board with Lucas as he heads through Blanchimont right now and runs down in towards the bus stop chicane. Important to get the braking down here for this corner because it can unsettle you if you take too much of that inside curve, and obviously if you run a little bit deep it does compromise you for the second part of the chicane. And there's a 41.1 for Lucas, good enough for P3 as it currently stands.
Yeah, it was a very good lap there for Lucas, and even
as VJ goes up a little bit higher, as I think your mic might have possibly disconnected there momentarily, Quinn.
it should be all good now.
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now as we got Smalley Balls now to the line. 41.6 for him. As I believe we're on board with Alpha Gully, who's coming up through Rouge and Ladion now onto the Camel Straight. DRS are wide open. Of course, we're going to be seeing a majority of the overtakes happen down this Camel Straight in towards there it comes as breaking down now, taking a little bit of that inside curve, not trying to take too much of it. Of course, that can unsettle the car massively. As we got support in the chat for Krypton right now in the Scuderia Ferraris. Of course, you had to set a lap time here as we go through No Name, as I believe it's now called Jackie X Corner, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, but I always refer to it as No Name. As we head through Pouan now with Alpha Gully, and he is now coming into the Campos section, breaking down 5th gear, taking a lot of that inside curve, trying to get the car rotated now for the second part of it. Now in towards Stavilo, breaking down 4th gear and a little bit of a snap, but it's a 12.7 in the middle sector. It's a purple middle sector. Is that purple for the session? We'll have to wait and see, as there's nothing left to do but put your foot to the floor as you head through Blanchimont now, and 320 kilometers indicated there as we head now to the break of the bus stop chicane. As third gear, the gear of choice there, has a little bit of traffic there for Alpha Guy. Gully will not be happy with that, but he crosses the line, goes up to P3 with a 41.0.
Yeah, very close between him, Laurent, and Jakku. Being the 3 drivers in the 41 zeros, yeah, it's very, very close. Of course, the biggest gap you have to say is between first and second at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to let you know as well, we are getting like a small little bit of static now with the headset for you. It does a crackle every now and then. It might be because you're moving the wire around, which might be causing that. But I mean, the first round of lap times are in. We got just over 10 minutes to go in the session, as we got Povatox and Kilcree out on track right now, of course being followed by Yano and of course Bell. And interestingly as well, Quinn, obviously a lot of these guys are from our old stomping grounds in F6 as well, so a lot of guys making the jump up, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good to have some more of these guys back here and be commentating over them again.
Absolutely. We are going to stay on board with Povatox here as he's coming through Brussels on his outlap, and I'm going to ask for predictions now, not only from yourself, Quinn, but also from the viewers in the chat. Let us know, what do you think the pole position lap time is going to be, and who are you backing for pole position?
I'm going to say 140.7, and I'm going to say Casper.
Casper with a 40.7, so when they're saying that Casper will find an extra 10th, and of course will take pole position. Guys in the chat, let me know what your prediction is. I'm actually gonna back you here, Quinn, and say Casper for pole position, but I think we could be looking at a 0.6 for the end of the session, so that's where I'll differ a little bit as we wait to see what Povatox does here as he's approaching now the bus stop chicane, getting himself psyched up for this lap, and we'll stay on board with him for the entirety of the lap, and he'll take us through this 7-kilometer circuit as he tries to get the car straightened up, get the best traction possible on the exit. And now DRS wide open as we cross the line, heading down into turn 1 La Source, and breaking down here, obviously very key to get your turning absolutely spot on, because you don't want to end up too far wide on that outside curve, because it can chew you up and spit you back out. As we head now into Eau Rouge, climbing up the hill now over the crest through Radion, and now onto the Kennel straight, where DRS will be wide open again for the second time on this lap as we head down in towards the breaking of Les Combes. Breaking down there, marginally down in his lap time so far is the Haas driver in Povatox, but a good middle sector here could really get him in and amongst the top guys in the qualifying so far as we go through Brussels and now into No Name, also known as Jackie X Corner, and now into the iconic double left-hander of Rouen, and it just snags it a little bit wide, and that's an invalidation there from Povatox.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Kilcree as he's coming through the sector 3 now. He's about 2/10 up on his time, so he'll be looking to be around about Alpha Gully if he's able to keep that up. But yeah, it's been a very solid lap here from Kilcree. And he might get a little bit of a slipstream here from the Mercedes ahead. And it's about 2.5 tenths of P3. The Alpha Tauri is going P3 and 4 at the moment. So it's very solid for them.
Sorry to cut in there. I just jumped on board with Laurent T. Almost 3 tenths up on his lap time, which of course would put him on provisional pole for this current lap as he's approaching the bus stop chicane, as he managed to find any time in the final sector. Big rear end snap as we go through the bus stop chicane, and that will definitely cost Lauren a little bit of time, but to the line he'll go, and it's still a 40.7. So Lauren T, they're already putting your lap time prediction what's called under pressure already, as Bell did cross the line and improve himself up in the P3 with a 40.9. We're starting to see quicker lap times coming in now. On board with Casper in the Sauber as he is approaching Blanchimont now, marginally up by about a 10th in the middle sector, and See, that will be very close, but not enough to topple Lauren T's time as we currently go through. But remember, Lauren T did lose a bit of time in the bus stop chicane as Casper now to the line. And he does improve, but it's not enough to topple Lauren yet.
Yeah, I was just looking at Belbel as well as he put himself up into, well, provisionally P2 just before Lawrence went up. So, yeah, both Williams looking strong and both AlphaTauri's looking strong as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are on board with Jakku right now, currently in P8, heading into the bus stop chicane in that Alpine racing car as he comes through the bus stop chicane. Second gear for Jakku there, so going a little bit different to the rest of the field who we've seen go through it in third gear. And it is an improvement, getting himself up in the P5, but not quite into the 140s. As it looks like both Robbie and Krypton there struggling to get a lap time on the board as it currently stands.
Yeah, it is quite a difficult track to, well, keep it within the track limits. It's one of the longest. Well, I think it is actually the longest, well, last time of any track on the calendar. So it can feel like you're out on track doing a lap for a long while. So it can be a little bit difficult to keep you focused, but of course in F4 you can have top drivers, well, some of the top drivers, so you'd think that shouldn't really be an issue for these guys.
It really shouldn't. On board with Alpha Gully now coming through Blanchimont. Up on his time in the middle sector. Let's see if he can carry this through. Obviously looking for a much better starting position inside the top 10 than the P8 where he's currently at. As DRS is wide open now to the line for Alpha Gully. And he goes up to P3 onto the second row. So good lap time there from the AlphaTauri man.
Yeah, very, very good lap time there. Like I was saying before, yeah, the Williams and the AlphaTauris both looking fairly strong, and one of the Salvers is looking strong. Casper's doing a great job. It's just Frank is, well, he's only half a second down, then he's about 11 positions away from his teammates. So showing how close it is.
Yeah, and I was just on board with VJ there, who made a complete mess of the entry into the bus stop chicane there, back end stepping out, guessing locking up the rear tyres, which of course is an issue heading into a hard braking zone. You don't want to be locking up the rears because that can lead to absolute calamities for all the guys out there. We got just under 3 minutes to go now in the session, as it is Lauren T who currently leads the way at 140.7 and just ahead of Casper, who's also on a 40.7. So it looks like it's going to be a straight shootout between Lauren T and Casper. But there's still a few other drivers who are in amongst it that can produce that kind of lap time. Obviously, we're talking Alpha Gully, Belbel, we're talking Kilcree, we're talking Jakku. Obviously, we've got Aguado in there as well, Poco Rao, Chrisbury as well in P9, and of course Lucas down in P10. Of course, it is going to be incredibly interesting who's going to come out on top here as the drivers are coming out on track once again to get their final lap times in, and I am going to go on board with the man who is under big pressure to get a lap time on the board, and he will be the first man to start his lap, is WOR Krypton.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the gap from the leader to everyone else, and well, Alpha Gully didn't make it round in time, so he has decided to retire, and that's going to be the last we see of Alpha Gully. But yeah, going from Lauren T in first to Provotox in 12th is less than half a second. So it just shows how close it is between everyone in this tier.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what we love to see. Drivers incredibly close on pace, and this will provide a lot of close action out on track. We're going to stay on board with Krypton, and Quinn, do you want to take us through a lap here with Krypton?
Yeah, can do. So coming up to first corner, La Source, you want to take kind of a late apex here so you can get on the power early. It does so, coming up to Eau Rouge, which is this left, and then Radion, which is up the hill. coming to the Kemmel Straight now, and it was fairly clean through the first 3 corners. We have to see what time he gets through sector 1. And coming through Lecompte is a 29.9, which is fairly comparable to some guys at the front of the field, but we've still got 2/3 of the lap left to go. Yeah, you just want to hug the inside as much as you can. Clear the fastest line. You want to lift off, not brake as much. You look fairly clean. Now coming up to pull on. Stick it in 7th and just throw it through. See if it sticks, and it does. And coming through here, some people choose to go down 4th, and he does extra rotation. Early shift up to 5th. Get on the power, very nice. Now through Stavolo. And 1:12.6 is the second sector split for Krypton. Looking fairly strong this lap from Krypton. And coming through Blanchimont now. And then finally up to the bus stop chicane goes Krypton. Only down into 3rd. Very big slide there from Krypton. And there's Kilcree with a 40.6. But Krypton comes up to the line.
Invalidated.
And it's still no time. Yeah, invalidated.
Invalidated on in the Canberra section as well. On board right now with Robbie. Checker flag has fallen in the session. And Kilcree currently on provisional pole, 40.6. So that is my prediction in terms of the pole time. But Robbie up into P11 for him. As we got Chrisbury coming through a 10.5 up, currently down in P10, looking to get himself at the order, and this would put him into the top 5 as it, well, potentially could get him into the top 5 if he can find just a little bit more time to get himself ahead of Alpha Gully here as we head into the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, I was just looking at Laurent, and it looks like he did exactly the same second sector split as his fastest lap, so it didn't say any improvement at all. But up to Laurent T, it will be an improvement, but not enough. 14,000.
Albel has invalidated his run. Now see Pogoral to the lane. Doesn't improve. What about Tiramisu? Tiramisu, the last driver out on the lap.
Invalidated.
Heartbreak there. So that is the end of qualifying here in Belgium. It is Kilcree on pole position with a 40.6, and I did get the time right, but I got the wrong person on pole position. So I'll take a 50 on that one.
Yeah, it was very close, and of course, just looking at the gap to the leader on, well, it was about half a second from Kilcree down to Frank, which is actually ridiculous. And then from everyone that set a time, it was just over 8 tenths from first being Kilcree to 18th in Tiramisu, which you have to give props, is very tight for the grid, but the fact that the top 15 is separated by half a second just shows how closely matched everyone in this tier is.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we will run you through the order once again. Is of course Kilcree getting the second pole position of the season with a 40.6, and only 14 thousandths of a second separating himself and Laurent T, who joins him on the front row. Casper in third with Probatox in fourth, Reguardo in fifth, Yanel in sixth, Alpha Gully in seventh, and of course we got Ivan in eighth. Bell in ninth, and of course we got Jakku rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10 we got Pogoral, Smalley Balls, Grisbury, Lucas, Frank, Robbie, Chris, Tiramisu, and then Krypton rounding out the rest of the field. Now guys, we'll go to the intermission break for just a moment, and then we'll be right back in just a few moments, so please bear with us. Well, what a qualifying session we just had there. Quinn, obviously, Kilcree on top with a 40.6. An incredible lap time he managed to get at the end. Puts himself in a fantastic position to potentially go on and get a very strong result here in the race.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. And something that I'm interested in seeing is the strategy calls from everyone. There's 5 lights are coming up.
Yep, as we go to those 5 red lights, lights out, and we are underway here in F4 on the PlayStation TS around Belgium. As you see, Kilcree and Laurenti side by side coming through turn number 1, and they managed to keep it clean there in behind. Look at this now, as we got Casper trying to fend off from Provatox as they come up through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time in this race, and looks like Provatox getting a fantastic run out of Eau Rouge and Radion. But look at this now, it is an absolute slipstream fest down in towards the comes, and look at that, Provatox has a look down the inside, big snap at the rear, a little bit of contact with the rear tyre of Casper, and down the order goes Provatox.
Yeah.
As Casper tries to go around the outside of Evan there, and Evan able to hold on as Casper having a little bit of a moment, losing it down into P6 right now, as you see Provatox all the way down in P15. So interesting in terms of the...
Aguado as well. Aguado's dropped down to last place. He's got front wing damage. After such a good qualifying display from Aguado, I thought we got the Aguado of old back from S6, but yeah, just bad luck striking him again with the front wing issue.
Yeah, unfortunate for Aguado, but we know Aguado, he will not give up in this race, that is for sure, and he will do his best to try and get himself up the order, as we got Vijay getting through on Casper. Up into P6 now goes the Alpine, and potentially Casper might have a little look at coming back at him here into the bus stop chicane. No, he's going to be smart about it, stick in behind for the time being. Laurenti has taken the race lead away from Kilcree, so Laurenti able to get through. Obviously we saw that down the Kemmel Straight, and now for Laurenti is trying to break that 1 second gap and break away and try and pull away. Alpha Gully over the back of Janel now. Janel's had a very good start up in the P3 here. The McLaren is about to be overtaken though by the Alpha Tauri, of course, on different compounds of tyres, so you expect Alpha Gully to have that advantage at this stage in the race as we head down into the breaking of the combs. And it is Alpha Gully now up into P3. Even over the back of Jakku, who has managed to get through on even up into P5, but of course on the soft compound tyres, so you would expect it with the grip advantage of the softs at this point versus the hard compound tyres. Interesting in terms of the strategy from a lot of these guys. There's been a few that have gone for a set of the soft tyres, 2 of course that have gone for the set of the mediums, everyone else on a set of hards, and obviously we got Provatox, who has already come into the pit lane, and I think yeah, he definitely got wing damage from that little bit of contact with the wall after trying to go side by side with Casper, and of course just a little tap on that rear right tyre, just enough to send him off into the wall.
Yeah, the choice of tyres is very, very interesting from everyone. Of course,
here comes Chris. Sorry to cut in there, Chris, around the outside of Blanchimont on Crisby, and up into P11 goes the Red Bull. Fantastic move there from CPI Chris up into P11. Now he goes. As it looks like Crisby, see, not looking to fight with these soft runners at this moment in stage. Knows that he's on a set of mediums, won't have the grip of these softs right now, but will in a few laps time. Lap 3 of 22. DRS is now activated. We're going to revert back to the front because now we have an Alpha Tauri civil war here as they come down the Kemmel Straight, and look at Alpha Gully gonna absolutely tuck into the substitution of his teammate, and this could be free wide into the break-in. This absolutely could be free wide into the break-in, and so it looks like Kilcree gets back into the race lead. Alpha Gully unable to get through on Laurenti there. Unfortunately, we didn't have a good camera angle on that. Yano sitting in right behind in P4, and of course we got Jakku there in P5.
Yeah, it's just I've been looking a bit further back, and Provodox is in once again on the hards. So he may be looking to potentially go to the end from here, which is going to be a big ask for him. So he just switched over to the softs to get the different tyre on and then switch back to the hards. So yeah, very interesting strategy call from Provodox, and yeah, Guado for just over 5 seconds back, but that's Frisbee.
Frisbee out of this race, and it's a virtual safety car here, lap 3 of 22. Virtual safety car, as we're going to go on board with Aguado. Aguado's actually had a bit of a moment there, as you see Aguado's teammate in Grisby in the wall just up ahead. Not sure what went on there for Grisby, but it is unfortunate to see him out of the race. The first retiree as okay. Aguado has unfortunately put in the wall himself.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great from Aguado there, but yeah, it's still, he's a long way back from Pokerol now, even with going into the pits, and now, well, Pokerol, you should be thinking potentially going to the end. Yeah. I think potentially Pokerol should be, well, could be going to the end on his hards now.
Yeah, absolutely. As we just saw Lauren T overtake for the race lead. Alpha Gully gets through into P2 ahead of Kilcree, who drops down into P3. But I mean, Kilcree will be fine with his teammate overtaking him at this stage in the race, knowing that he's on slightly better tyres. Of course, the mediums versus the hards. At this stage, the mediums will be the better tyre to be on, and Kilcree knows he'll have an opportunity to come back at his teammate later in the race when he's on a fresher, quicker set of tyres. And Lauren T, it's going to be very difficult for Lauren T to try and break away from Alpha Gully, but if Lauren T can break away from Kilcree, of course the gap is around about a second right now between Kilcree and Lauren T. If he can just keep that gap increasing, then of course Lauren T will be very happy with that. Of course, right now he is racing against Kilcree, who's on the same strategy. Then Alpha Gully, obviously on the mediums, a little bit out of sync, so we'll have to wait and see how this all develops later in this race.
Yeah, I think, well, the likes of Chris, Robbie and Jaku, you think that they would be pitting on, well, they might stick it out and just try and go for a soft medium, or potentially pit onto the hards. I'd say around lap 7 or 8. Well, I'd say around, yeah, 7 or 8 if they're trying to go for the hards. The mediums, I'd probably say they try and stick it out for lap 10. Lap 10 or 11 on the softs, which they'll basically be nothing. But looking at this battle, Belbel and Chris getting past Robbie, but not able to get the move on Belbel's Chris. So yeah, Belbel very nicely done, and Robbie loses 2 positions in 1 corner.
Oh, Robbie there getting a big rear end snap. You mentioned contact there. Obviously, Smalley Ball's in behind. I didn't quite hear no audible contact between the pair of them. I thought it was just a back end loss, but Smalley Ball's in behind. He wants to hope that he hasn't picked up any wing damage from that if he did make contact. But right now, I mean, Robbie starting to struggle on those soft tyres.
Oh, Lucas trying to stick it round. He's not able to, and he's still looking for a gap, but Smalley Balls closes the door. He's going for a very audacious move through the chicane, but it wasn't able to get it done. Was Lucas. This is very opportunistic move there from Lucas.
Yep, so I'm going to revert to this battle for P4 in this race right now, as Jaku being overtaken by Casper side by side into the bus stop chicane as they wheel to wheel. They bang slightly side pod to front right tyre as they cross the line to begin lap number 6. They head down into the braking for the source, and it's going to be Casper trying to hang it all the way around the outside. In fact, no, he's going to tuck in behind Vijay for the time being, and I think that's a smart move there from Casper, because now he can just use the slipstream and try and get himself back into position. As look at this now. The overspeed from Casper, incredible. It's a bit of contact there as Jakku tried to cover it off, but it was just a little bit too late as that front wheel just about got alongside the rear tyre.
Yeah, that was almost disaster there for Jakku. But looking at Even, who's just sticking it around behind Jakku, just waiting for an opportunity. Of course, you have to say he's probably in the worst position out of everyone in this train. People say if you're in a DRS train, the worst position to be in is, well, last in the train.
Morley gets P10 on the run down in towards Pouon, and it is P10 now for Smalley Bush. You see Lucas here in the back looking at the rear wing of that Mercedes of Robbie, and I think now the soft tyres are starting to fall away from these guys as they are all struggling to keep pace right now with the hards.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell. Look at the gap between Robbie and Smalley Bush now. It's thinning, but look at Chris. He still managed to keep up with Elbel. He is running a bit low on the ERS front though, as I thought he was going to try and look for a dive there, Chris, but
Lucas has gone for the dive. And that's Tiramisu trying to follow through as well. So Tiramisu trying to catch his teammate napping there. And we're going to say on board, look at the rear wing through as they come down in towards turn number 1. And I think Robbie might have to concede this to his teammate, and he does.
Yeah.
As you look at, like, Krypton there is looking to get involved as well. Having a look in that Scuderia Ferrari as we come down through Eau Rouge in towards Radio now as we climb up the hill onto the Kemmel Straight. Again, lap 7 of 22. Alpha Gully leads the way. Alpha Gully now on those mediums, doing his best to try and pull away, but it's going to be difficult at this stage, as I believe at this stage I think the mediums and the hards are similarly placed at this time.
What a move from Krypton. Sorry to cut you off, but absolutely just the switchback of dreams on Robbie. Unfortunately for Robbie, he did end up spinning, I believe. He just got on the power a bit too much, but coming through Le Combs, the absolute just brilliant move, the switchback from Krypton. It was absolutely beautiful move there from the Ferrari driver, and got past Robbie up into P13.
And so very good from Krypton, trying to make moves, trying to get himself up the order. Unfortunately for Robbie, I think those soft tyres have definitely gone on his car, and especially after the spin as well. I mean, I would come into the pits right now and put on a set of the hards if I was Robbie, because I mean, it'd be a stretch to get mediums to the end from here, and they definitely would have fallen off by the end. But I mean, he's lost enough time with that spin. Probably worth just putting on a set of the hards going to the end now.
I think that's what he's going to do. He's in the pits now, and I think unless he retires, which no, I don't think he will be playing on set of the hards. No, he's mediums.
Okay, that's a bold call there for Robbie.
And he's getting a front wing change as well.
I mean, they can get to the end mediums, but they will be very worn by the end of this race.
Yeah.
As we got Yano over the back of Kilcrew here, as Lauren T manages to re-overtake Alpha Gully for the race lead. And Alpha Gully now on those medium tyres are going to be looking a little worse for wear at this stage. And we should start to see pit stops begin to happen in the next few laps, as the Kilcrew there, that would have been a warning for track extension right there coming through Kuon. But right now, another fantastic thing as well, no one has picked up a 3-second time penalty. 8 laps in, usually it's always one that floats around, just someone who may not be up to speed with the circuit as of yet on full race load, but everyone keeping it very clean in terms of the penalties so far, and it's making for very close action here in F4.
Yeah, definitely is. And just want to mention Jakku and Chris, both on the soft tyres, they are keeping up with the people ahead of them, so maybe those two are just being looking after the soft tyres much more than Robbie was. And yeah, I do really think that these two may be looking to go for a soft medium strategy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there's a 3-second gap between Bell and Evan here. Obviously between P7 and P8, and that is about to become VJ, because Evan now pulls out the slipstream, draws alongside the Alpine, and we'll have the inside line in towards the comms, and job done there for Evan, and VJ will have to tuck in behind now.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, of course, between Bell. Oh, there's Lucas as Smalley Balls going side by side. Smalley Balls goes off the circuit there as Lucas.
Oh, look at Krypton.
Still down the inside.
Krypton, bit
Oh.
of contact. That's Krypton out of the race. And Krypton into the wall, out the race. Safety car. Perfect there for the soft runners, and perfect for Vatox and Aguado to get themselves back into this race. But an absolute heartbreaking contact collision there between, I believe it was Smalley Balls and Krypton. And I'm not sure whether Smalley Balls was getting a snap of oversteer there through Brussels, but definitely a big moment there that has caused WOR Krypton to be out of this race. And of course, he did have support in the chat at the start of the stream, and yeah, heartbreak for his fans in the stream right now.
Yeah, it is definitely, but the person that you've got to feel really sorry for at the moment is Alpha Gully, because he's in an awkward situation where do you go for the hards or the softs? Everyone else, Lawrence and, well, everyone on the hards can go mediums, and Jakku and Chris can go for the mediums also. So Alpha Gully is going to be very interesting to see what tyre choice he goes for.
What we are seeing right now is the white wall hard compound tyres going on to Alpha Gully's car, and of course, I mean, Kilcree's going to have to double stack, which is obviously not going to help him out. He's going to drop him down behind Janel, but fortunately he doesn't lose out any more positions other than that. Casper now up in the P5, he went in P6, Jakku P7, Bell now in P8, Masu in P9, and of course Chris having picked up that 5-second collision penalty with Bell, obviously serving that in the pits, and comes back out. He's down in P12.
Yeah, there's not been great safety car so far for Chris. The two Red Bulls sitting down in P12 and P14, but it's got itself, well, back on track for the Saubers. Of course, Casper in P5 and Frank in P11 got an opportunity to get into the points, does Frank. So what wasn't looking so promising for the Saubers is now looking very promising for them.
Yeah, absolutely. As Aguado puts on a fresh set of medium tyres. Of course, everyone has come into the pits and taken advantage of the safety car here. Lap 10 of 22. I believe we'll probably go racing at the end of lap 11. So from lap 12 onwards, we should be at green flag conditions. And yeah, now this is going to be interesting because, of course, Alpha Gully is going to be struggling a little bit early on with those with the tyres of everyone around him being on fresh mediums compared to his fresh hards. But by the end of this race, Alpha Gully, if he can stay close enough to these guys at the front, will be able to come back at them. As we are under safety car right now, I'm going to put a question now to everyone in chat. Of course, we're lap 10 of 22. We are under safety car conditions. Who is your prediction right now, guys, as we approach the halfway point in this race? Who is your podium predictions? Let me know in the chat. Let's get a little bit of engagement going on right now. Let's have a little bit of a prediction going on in chat. Lap 10 of 22. Alpha Gully currently leads the way. Lauren T in second place, with Janel now up in the third. Kilcree in P4 with Casper in P5. Even in P6. Jakku in P7. Bell in P8. Tiramisu in P9. And of course, Smalley Balls rounding out the top 10 in the final points paying position. Outside the points so far, we have We have IRT Frank in 11th, Chris in 12th, Pogoral in 13th, Lucas in 14th, Robbie in 15th. Povatox is currently in 16th and he's into the pits. Same with Aguado. As we got the first prediction in the chat saying Gully for the win. Of course, Gully right now currently on a set of the hard compound tyre. It's going to be under pressure early on, but should have the grip late in this race to come back as long as he doesn't lose too much time and track position with these medium runners early on. So not a bad shout there from Carol. It is, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys. My pronunciation skills are not incredible when it comes to names. It's very confusing. I mean, I can say the longest town name in Wales, but when it comes to names and that, it does baffle the mind sometimes. But it's not a bad shout. Who do you predict on the podium with Alpha Gully then? If we're going for a Gully win.
Well, if we're going to say Gully win, I would say, I think, well, yeah, I think it'll be Janel and Casper joining Gully on the podium.
So you're going Janel and Casper. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I think we will end up with a podium of Alpha Gully, Lauren T and Kilcree. I think it's going to be a double Alpha Tauri podium here tonight. Of course, lap 11 of 22. Carol in the chat saying it's okay. I appreciate that, Carol. I honestly, when it comes to names and that, sometimes pronunciations they absolutely run amok with me. But safety car is in this lap, so Alpha Gully will control the pace, back up the pack, and we'll be getting going once again. The green flag racing here on lap number 12. Of course, DRS will not be activated for a few more laps. I believe lap 15 will be the first time that we do get DRS down the Camel Straight. So, gonna be an interesting one now. Quinn, everything's reset. Everyone bunched back up again. Obviously, opportunity for both Vadox and Aguado to get themselves back into this race as well. And let's see what's going to happen as we are about to start lap 12 and get into the second half of this race.
Yeah, I'm just looking down at everyone's fuel, and some people are dangerously close to being out of fuel already.
Leaving it late, sorry, Alpha Gully leaving it late to get this restart underway. And here we go, lap 12, we are back underway, green flag racing, as it looks like, oh, Casper there with a big lunge down the inside of Evan, gets that job done, and he's almost alongside Kilcree here as we are back racing it once again. These guys are going to have to go single file up through Rouge and Radion now, as we got Tiramisu over the back of VJ there in P8. Bell trying to close and stay with these guys inside the top 6. Of course, Lauren T now looking for the move for the race lead around the outside in towards the comms, but it looks like Alpha Gully's got that covered for right now.
Yeah, been very good, but that's Robbie with the first 3-second time penalty there, and yeah, got past Chris, but yeah, that 3 seconds is basically confined him to the back of the grid for now, which is unfortunate for last week's race winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there another curse coming?
Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware of the curse, of course, in season 35, for the majority of the season, we had every single race winner have a horrible race as soon as they won a race. So, I mean, the man who ended up winning the championship, of course, was Rara last season. And of course, he didn't take his first race win until he sealed the championship, which was of course at Silverstone, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head. And it looks like Alpha Gully now getting overtaken, getting swamped left, right and centre by these medium runners. As look at Kilcree now going to try and break and go around the outside of his teammate now into the bus stop chicane, side by side. The Alpha Tauris wheel to wheel. The teammates go battle here in Belgium, and it looks like it's going to be Kilcree trying to get ahead, but look at Alpha Gully's not giving this up. He is not accepting. He's not accepting team orders here. He wants to battle with his teammate, and this will lose him a bit of time. But right now, I think Kilcree has got that position sorted for this moment in time.
Yeah, that was a very, very exciting battle, but I don't think it's quite over just yet.
Oh, look, Casper.
Well, look at
Casper's
Casper.
So be brave to be able to do it. Oh, small bit of contact. There's still wheel to wheel.
Getting
Casper now
boxed in.
for yeah, boxing there is Casper, but now should be able to find a little bit of space for himself as down the inside goes
The
down for Gully,
Sauber.
and oh, the Sauber and the Alpha Tauri side by side again as they go for Brussels, and now into Jackie X, and it is Casper who does a fantastic job in getting that position up in the P4, but at what cost? He's over a second behind Kilcree now.
Yeah, he's got to really push and, well, he's got to use his ERS, you'd think, just to even get back into DRS range, sorry. But yeah, he is back within DRS range.
Yep, using a bit of the battery deployment to try and get himself back within a second as Alpha Gully on these hard common tyres getting swamped early on the restart phase after the safety car, as you would expect, but let's not count Alpha Gully out of this yet. Late into this race he will come back into it, so as long as he can stay in this train for the race seat, he has an opportunity.
Well, you say as long as he can stay in a train for the race lead. I think the whole field is basically in a DRS train. They are. Yeah, the whole field is in a DRS train. Apart from Alpha Gully, he's just dropped out slightly, but he's back into it. Really draining his battery to try and get back into DRS range, and I think he's just got it. The detection point was just at the bottom of, well, just at Eau Rouge. But look at that, Belbo's already passed him. Even with DRS for Alpha Gully, Belbo gets past. But that's
huge.
Lauren T with a penalty.
Lauren T with a huge penalty here, lap 14 of 22. This could be a race defining penalty for Lauren T. This could actually drop him well entirely off the podium. I mean, right now, it will drop him. It will drop him down to the tail end of the top 10 in terms of the points. But Robbie with another penalty, so last week's race winner is not going well for him here tonight. And obviously with DRS that Yano, Kilcree and Casper have, they're going to be able to, well, really keep the pressure on Lauren T, because Lauren T now, I mean, he's on about 20% ERS battery remaining. Yano in behind on 40%. You got Kilcree on about 20%. Same with Casper as well. Bell on about 30%. And of course we got about 20% for Alpha Gully as well. And then you got this man in P7 even on 70% battery. You see he is closing in to Alpha Gully just in straight line speed. So looks like he's got a car a little bit more tailor-made for the straight. And with that ERS advantage he does have, he could be looking at an opportunity very soon to get himself up in the P6 in this race.
Yeah, just looking at the ERS on everyone, within the top 5, with the exception of Yano, I say, they're pretty poor with their ERS at the moment. But even is very close.
Side by side with Alpha Gully, and he's going to be able to get this done smooth as you like. The Ferrari now up into P6. The Alpha Tauri has to settle down for P7. And this is where things are going to get a bit difficult late into this race for Alpha Gully, because now he has a lot of cars to overtake at the end of this race if he wants to get himself a good podium position here.
Yeah. Well, I believe the mediums, they start to, well, no, the softs start to drop off around about 5 or 6 laps in. I'd say the mediums drop off around 10 or 11, so towards the end of the stint, these mediums are not going to be feeling great.
Yeah, absolutely, the hards will feel exactly the same, I would say, all the way to the end. They'll have a similar grip level. I mean, right now, Alpha Gully does need well, keep the pressure on these guys and, you know, make them think that he will come back at them at some point in this race. But even now on the back of a Bell for P5 here, could even be making a charge for the podium. That's going to be the question. Of course, the prediction in the chat was saying Gully for the win, and right now Gully down in P7 can potentially come back late in this race, but it's going to be very difficult now for Gully to take a race win here.
Yeah, it's gonna be, well, borderline impossible for him to do. Of course, stranger things have happened whilst we've been commentating. We've had 3 people separated by 3/10 for the race win. We've had people crashing on the last lap, and we've had disaster at Japan. We've had loads of stuff happening with us commentating, so not gonna rule anything out just yet.
Absolutely, yes. Even Alexa staying behind Bell, and of course, time his overtake to the best of his abilities as looking down the battle for P12. Looked like Lucas getting close to the back of Frank as Bravadok's getting close to the back of Lucas as well. So these guys bunching up. We got a bit of a gap in behind us. Chris is having a bit of a moment there. We jumped on board him mid-moment as he has Robbie up behind him. Pogarel currently in P16 and Aguado in 17th. Now, there's a bit of history by here between Aguado and Pogarel. If you guys remember, 2 seasons ago, season 34 in F6, of course, Aguado was in the championship battle and was on course to potentially become the F6 champion. And an incident between himself and this man in front of him, Pogarel, ended up, potentially costing Aguado an opportunity at the Drivers' Championship. So there's history there between these 2 drivers, and history, not exactly pleasant history, I should say.
Yeah, it's fair to say we were both devastated at what happened that night, but we're here now. We're in F4. It's in the past. Well, it might be in the forefront of Aguado's mind right now as he's looking at the back of Pogarel's car, but we've got to keep on looking forward, and that's Pogarel out. He's gone into the pits and retired. And Aguado may go for a fastest lap.
Okay, trying to go around the outside of Yanel here for P2 in this race, and effectively the net race lead as our 3-second time penalty from Lauren T. And these guys are battling for the race win now.
Yeah, they definitely are, and just looking at the gaps from Lauren T back to everyone, he will drop back behind Alpha Gully with that 3-second time penalty. He will find himself in P7 if it was to stay as it is now.
A huge amount of points lost there for Lauren T. With that 3-second time penalty added to his time, as Chris picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. You mentioned Aguado going for fastest lap. I mean, it's just been a horrible race for the Aston Martin, and honestly taking fastest lap, salvaging like just something out of this race. I think Aguado just wants a bit of a saving grace in that. You know? I mean, they not get no points but got the fastest lap, you know. Oh,
he crashed out at Puon.
Oh wow!
On the exit of Puon.
And interestingly enough, Alpha Gully and Lucas into the pits. This is going to be for softs right now.
Yeah, it is. But
with
how tight it is with the pack, it's going to be very difficult for Alpha Gully to make his way through. But he's going to be fair way back from everyone else. So I think a race win for Alpha Gully is kind of out of the question now.
Yeah, I mean, too late in the race, in my opinion, for a race win for Alpha Gully. But, I mean, again, you never know in F4, in PSGL, of course. Never say never until the final lap. And, of course, the checker flag has come out. But right now, we're under virtual safety car. Lauren T leads the way. Yanel in second. Kilcree in third. With Casper in fourth. Belwell in fifth. With Ivan in sixth. Jacko in 7th, Tiramisu in 8th, Small Balls 9th, and ILT Frank rounding out the top 10, the final points paying position. DRS is enabled, we're back to green flag racing once again, lap 18 of 22. And Bovadox, after the horrible start that he had, is now looking at the back of potentially getting some good points here.
Yeah, it's going to be very, well, close call to see who's, well, going to finish where, but looking at Alpha Gully and, well, He's making some inroads on the back of Robbie, but by no means is it going to be an easy overtake on anyone ahead of him.
Yeah, of course, AlphaGully will jump ahead of both Chris and Robbie on the penalties as it currently stands, but AlphaGully needs to dispatch these two ASAP so he can try and eat into that 6.2 second gap between Chris and Pro Vadox. Because of course, Pro Vadox right now about to put serious pressure under the Sauber's rear wing for that final point paying position. And of course, Smalley Balls there currently in P9, so it looks like both Haas cars looking for double points here tonight. We've got both Williams in the points as well, and that will be huge for the Williams team. And of course, last season as well, it was the Williams that did collect the Constructors' Champions. Will it be 2 seasons in a row? Time will tell as Laurent gets overtaken by both Yano and Kilcree with DRS down in towards their comms, so going from first down to third as that's a Red Bull around, and that is Chris. And AlphaGully has managed to get through on Robbie as well. A little bit of contact there as Casper taps the rear wing of Laurent there. And yeah, I mean, it's starting now to get a little bit interesting. Of course, Laurent with that 3 second is out of contention for a podium, but Casper needs to get through on Laurent if he wants any hope of a race win here.
Yeah, it definitely does, but it's going to be very difficult. Of course, Laurent is going to want to stick as high as a position as he can, because at the moment he'll only be dropping down to P6. These top 6 are really starting to push the pace now.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes Casper getting a fantastic run as we head in towards Blanchemont into that slipstream he'll go. And potentially he's looking down the inside into the bus stop chicane, and he's going to go for it. A triple overtake! Surely not from Casper. Absolutely incredible lunge. He gets 2 for the price of 1 into the bus stop chicane. Casper catching both Lauren and Kilcree napping there. And look at Kilcree trying to defend from Laurent in towards the source. It has all kicked off here towards the end of this race. AlphaGully with a new fastest lap of the race as he continues his charge to try and catch up to the top 10. But my God, what an overtake that was from Casper. Double overtake into the bus stop chicane. A Daniel Ricciardo-esque lunge, I would say. But yeah, how much longer as Laurent gets back through? And look at this now as Yano's going to be overtaken by Laurent. And bit of contact between the pair of them. And that is Yano going a little bit off track. Has to rejoin 3 second time penalty. Maybe he could put in a petition to have that removed, I'm not sure. But now Casper in a race winning position as both of the drivers around him have 3 second time penalties.
Yeah. Well, gotta say my prediction's looking very good right now. Well, apart from Yano on the podium, and that's another 3 second time penalty for Laurent.
Yeah, that.
But yeah, my prediction of a Casper wins looking very good now.
I mean, did you say Casper win? I thought you said Casper podium.
Yeah. No, I said, well, yeah, I said AlphaGully win, and then Casper
guys
on the podium. So it'll still be on the podium.
Don't worry, guys. We won't let Quinn try and claim a victory where he didn't say it. Don't worry, guys. We are all over it. But right now, Casper is in a race-winning position. Kilcree is currently on course for P2 as he's under pressure right now from Bell for P4 in this race, so effectively in net P2 as Bell just taps the rear wing there. Smalley Ball's getting through on Tiramisu in behind as well. As we're going to look at this balance, they run down in towards the source. Smalley Ball's going to be able to hold that. Pro Vadox now up into P9, getting the move done on Jakku. Jakku falling down the order here late in this race, and he's down to the final point paying position. However, with the 6 seconds of time penalties that Lauren has, I think Lauren will drop completely outside the points here now.
No, I don't agree with this move for Casper. I do not agree with it for Casper because he's going to be...
As they come through, there comes a side by side, they're wheel to wheel. And
comes the outside.
Yeah, he's not going to get that. But maybe he could have a little look down the inside in towards the Brussels. And he is going to have a look down the inside into Brussels. He's going to get that move done. There's still a side by side though into Jackie X, and it is going to be Kilcree that does hold on to P4. But again, at what cost? He's a second outside the window now.
Yeah, he is. And like I was saying before, I just didn't really agree with that move. With going for that overtake for Casper. Really because, well, he's...
Kilcree just
Yano...
completely going off there. And I'm not sure if there was any contact. I didn't hear no audible contact there between Bell and Kilcree, but Kilcree, they're going off track and under huge pressure from Ivan going to get through up in the P5. And Kilcree there, an uncharacteristic mistake. As look at that, Smalley Balls through as well. Smalley Balls looking for the opportunity to get himself up into a podium position here. As he had a little look down the inside. Then Smalley Balls has to tuck in behind the Ferrari for the time being. Though we're on the final lap of the race right now. I mean, Casper, if he gets overtaken by both Yano and Lawrence C, Yano could potentially see if he can get that time penalty removed, as long as you don't pick up another warning, that is, of course. And up through Rouge and Radion for the final time in this race. Yano with DRS and a little bit of ERS battery deployment is going to be able to overtake for the race lead. And we'll see post stewards inquiries whether or not he'll be able to keep it. But for right now, he's in the race lead.
Yeah, he is, and it's been a great race so far. Bell. Those yellow flags, and I believe is for Jakku on the back of Lucas.
It is all kicked off here in the closing stages here in Belgium in F4. Chris with the new fastest lap of the race, a 43.5 for him, down in 15th place. So obviously no points here for Chris, but a little bit of a glory obviously having the fastest lap. And now coming through the final sector, now Yano has a large enough gap, I think, to hold off Casper. We'll wait and see though. Casper is closing in quite rapidly here as the red flashing light is there, and this could be on into the bus stop chicane. Casper closing in as he's going to look around the outside, going to try and outbrake the McLaren. He'll turn to the inside for the second part of the chicane as it's still wheel to wheel, and it's going to be Casper for Sauber, potentially going to take this win, and he does. And it's a drag race to the line, and my god, it was 7 thousandths of a second to separate him. Smalley Balls gets himself onto the podium in the end. Even just misses out coming home in P4. Pro Vadox, a great recovery up into P5 for him. Tiramisu in P6 as Alpha Gully does come through to claim P7 in the end. As we had Bell dropping down the order. Lauren C just about holding on to 2 points here as Kilcree. I don't know what happened to Kilcree, but Kilcree down in P10. My god, what happened to the AlphaTauri?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but it's a great result for the Sauber Casper and Janel as well, and he was on track and he finished in 7 thousandths of a second away, and they're still battling for the final 2 positions between Robbie and Chris. You'd love to see it battling this far. Well, and I believe that may have been Chris getting the fastest lap.
Yeah, I think Chris did get sure. I think Chris did get the fastest lap, but my god. I mean, Tiramisu got the in-game driver of the day vote, but I'm going to ask you for your driver of the day.
No. I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna give it to Smalley Balls. Coming up from qualifying P12 and finishing on the podium was a great drive from him. Of course, it was aided by the penalties from Bell and Laurent. But yeah, to finish on the podium, qualifying P12 is a great result for Smalley Balls.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Smalley Balls as well. Obviously, considering you've gone for Smalley Balls, I'll give it to our race winner, Casper, because of course he did go for the most impressive double overtake I've seen around Belgium in a long time. But we're running for the order right now. It is Casper who does take victory here in Belgium by 7 thousandths of a second on track, but of course that 3 second time penalty coming back to bite Yana. Will it get removed though? I mean, even if it does, it doesn't change what happens here with the race result. Smalley Balls completes the podium with even in P4, with Provatax in P5. Good day for the Haas F1 team. Tiramisu in P6, with Alpha Gully coming through in P7. Bell down to P8 after that penalty, and Lauren T down to P9 after his 6 seconds applied. Gilcree, I don't know what happened at the end for him, but he finishes in P10. Still picks up one singular point, and outside the points was Frank, Lucas, Jaku, Chris with the fastest lap, and Robbie. And of course, our non-finishers were Aguado, Pogoral, Krypton, and Brisbury. And that will wrap up proceedings here in Belgium. And honestly, Quinn, what an incredible end to that race. Like, it really did kick off right to the end, and I think the safety car played a huge part in actually just bunched everyone back up together.
Yeah, definitely did, and safety car really played a big part in what ended up being a fairly entertaining race.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, highlights from that race. Obviously, you saw the switchback there from Krypton. I actually didn't see it, so I can't comment on it. But you said it was an absolutely glorious switchback through the comms that Krypton was able to pull off. Unfortunately for Krypton, he did retire from the race. But Casper, that double overtake into the bus stop chicane, that was a thing of beauty. That was a Danny Ricciardo-esque dive down the inside, caught 2 drivers napping, and almost got the third as well. So it was a great overtake from Casper and a thoroughly deserved race win. Janel, so close for him taking that win, but 7,000th was the gap, and heartbreak for the McLaren. Smalley Balls does come through to complete a fantastic podium. Tiramisu as well. I just want to mention another driver that did do it incredibly well. Tiramisu from P18 on the grid up to P6. Like, an incredible drive from Tiramisu to get himself from 18th on the grid all the way up to P6. I mean, he started almost at the back of the field, got himself into the top 10, got himself some good points for Mercedes. I mean, Alpha Gully, what could have been for him? I mean, he did come into the pits to chuck on a set of the softs at the end. If he stayed out on the hards, though, do you think he could have potentially taken a race win here?
It'd be very difficult to call it, of course, with like everything, like with how close the racing was. So you saw it was only a 7,000ths on track between Casper and Jana. It was difficult to say if could have won it or not. There's a possibility he could have, but yeah, towards the end of the stint, the Haas would have been a better tire. So honestly, who knows?
Yeah.
It's F1 league racing, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, guys, I mean, we wasn't here last week for Australia to obviously bring you guys the calendar here for season 36. But let's have a look at the calendar right now. Of course, we have just had Belgium, of course. So next week, we head to the Jewel in the Crown of the F1 calendar. Quinn, we head to Monaco.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see how these guys handle the iconic street circuit. Of course, it's very much a Marmite track for people on this game. Some people love it, some people hate it, but for me personally, I hate it.
I mean, Monaco is going to be one of those circuits where it's just going to be very difficult to get the overtakes done. But, I mean, we have seen overtakes happen there, obviously, into Nouvelle Chicane, for example. Obviously, Saint-Yvon, as you come up through the casino, you can get alongside and get some moves done there. Obviously, the hairpin as well. And, of course, Rascasse. I mean, we do love a little lunge into Rascasse every now and then, as long as it's done cleanly and wisely. That is, of course, how it'll go. But that is next week. Of course, massive congratulations to Casper for the race win here tonight. And, of course, to Janel and the Smalley Bulls on the podium. Haas gain big points in terms of the constructors here tonight with a P3 and a P5 finish. Provadoc's incredible comeback drive after his early calamities falling down the order, but showing his pace to come back and finish in P5. But with that, I think that is going to wrap things up here tonight for us. Massive thank you to every single one of you that has tuned in tonight and has shown support in the stream and shown support for your favourite drivers as well. We'll be back next week for Monaco. I have been Michael Edwards, and you can check me out on Twitter. The link is right there at IvaBrinMike. And of course, I have been joined by Danny Quinn, and obviously Quinn, your link is right there as well. I'm bad at F1. Yep. I do not believe that whatsoever. You're actually pretty decent. But that will wrap it up here tonight, and we will catch you next week as we go racing around the Jewel of the Crown in the F1 calendar as we head to Monaco. Until then, guys, it's goodbye from the pair of us. Goodbye.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Here in this phenomenal race, Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's the lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Takes the lead on the final lap of the race.